Hello and welcome to another Should You Buy, and the Clan Heroes 2, the Clan Collection, the last mechs in the game to not have heroes have finally been given their due. We're going to go through each of these mechs. We have a total of 9, and we're going to talk about the different omnipods that they add to the game, and what that will do for their particular chassis. Now, to go off the start here, if you purchase a mech through these pre-order packages, it's just about like you're getting it for 35% off, because you get the mech bay with it, you get the mech at a reduced cost. So if you purchase this with MC later, it would take you more, and it's like it's on a 30% sale, 33% sale, around there. So when it comes to Omnimechs though, it's only if you care about having an Omnimech that generates you additional seatbelts. Because it's an Omni, you can switch out hardpoints to do whatever build. So the individual hardpoints that they add, or the individual Omnipods, may or may not be important. We're going to go through and talk about each one that is important, and that changes what a particular chassis can do. And then in the end, I'm going to rant for a little bit about there's starting to be some pay to win with this, with the Omnimech heroes, and I want to address it. But first off, let's just head down here. These new mechs will ship on August 15th, so at the end of the summer sort of area, or midsummer. Keep in mind this will happen after the new tech is in. So these mechs do have new tech on them, and when you get them, you will be able to put on all of the new tech. So you got to think of this with heavy lasers, ATMs, all that kind of fun stuff. But we'll go through it. For the lights, just doing our very standard setup here for cost. Lights are $10, mediums are $15, heavies are $20, and assaults are $25. You get a mech bay, and then you get a standing item, and you get a the mech, of course. I thought this was something else, but it's just in lore who piloted it. So there's like this one, the Shadow Cat was by Lucian Carnes, and he is from Clan Novicat, which is my clan. Oh, how wonderful. We continue down here, and the reason why there is 9 is because Mad Dog was an additional one. If you had purchased all of Wave 1 and all of Wave 2, you got an additional Mad Dog in the original Invasion sets. So that is why there is 9 random remaining there. But let's go and take a look here at the lights to start with the Mistlynx, as it is the smallest and the first. Now, the only thing that is really interesting about this Mistlynx is it's the first one to have anything in their torsos. Anything at all. All the previous Mistlynx have had just no hard points in their side torsos, just jump jets. But this one has the 3 jump jets, but it also has 2 energy hardpoints, and that is huge for the Mistlynx, because what would always happen for the Mistlynx is you could choose between your ECM or having actual firepower. And the reason why was because all of its hardpoints were in its arms, and if you swapped out the arm for the ECM, that ECM arm had no other hardpoints. It was like an ECM and an AMS. So if you took that ECM, you were left to like 1 or 2 energy in your right, and that was it. You can only do like one good build with that, and that is the ERPPC jump snipe. Nothing else is good on that Mistlynx. So with this, you can now have like 4 small pulse lasers and an ECM. You can be a little sneakier, you can move around the battlefield, and you can try to backstab some people. Alternatively, you can now go like 6 ER smalls with the Mistlynx. With the just screw the ACM, you're just gonna have the firepower of an Arctic cheetah. Sure, you'll be a little bit hotter, but whatever. You're gonna have a massive increase in firepower for a Mistlynx main pilot. Moving on to the Arctic cheetah, literally nothing special with this thing. We have the energy arms, we have missiles in the torsos. The only really big thing here is that you have some ballistics, but it's only 2 ballistics, and it does have heavy machine guns, but we don't know their stats. We don't know how good they're going to be. Is just 2 machine guns worthwhile? Really, nothing special about the Arctic Cheetah, but if you want a Seabull version of it, a Seabull boosted version, you can get it here. Moving on to the mediums, we have the Ice Ferret, and big stuff for the Ice Ferret. Again, this is the first time it's had a hardpoint in this right torso, so just all other Ice Ferrets out there could have an additional missile if they had access to this right torso. But the big part is this left torso, an ECM. That's huge for the Ice Ferret. It would allow it to be much sneakier than before. It could use its speed to get around the back of the enemy while also being hidden under ECM, and then it can be that striker flanker that it was always meant to be, but couldn't really pull off perfectly. You could do it if you knew how to use the terrain, but the mech would have some issues if you didn't, and this is just going to make it easier for people to get in there and use this mech effectively. Moving on to the Shadow Cat. Well, let's see here. I gotta reflect on my notes that I had in front of me. Really nothing special about the Shadow Cat. Just some additional hardpoints, some hardpoint shuffling. The left arm is nothing new. The right torso is nice. It's an additional missile. Previously, the only other right torso would have a single missile hardpoint. So now, it's a build that I like to run on the Shadow Cat, which was 3 Artemis 6s and 2 small pulse lasers. I can now switch to, say, 4 4s, or maybe even 4 6s and just drop the lasers and just make it a fast, mobile missile spewing thing, or maybe in the future with ATMs. You don't know what's going to put there. But I find that will be just a little bit of an optimization for the Shadow Cat, nothing really huge, so we can move on from there. In the heavy category, we have the Mad Dog as the first one. And this is really like an identity shift for the Mad Dog. Ballistic left torsos? What is this? And then energy arms. We've already had energy arms on the Mad Dog, so that's not a problem. But ballistic side torsos, that's a first. Before, it was always ballistic arms. But it's going to be a real question of where they're going to be, as the art here doesn't reflect their loadout. As you can see, it has ballistic on the arms, and it keeps moving away, so I got to keep clicking here. But where are those ballistics going to be in the side torso? Are they going to be low down in this area, or are they going to be higher up in this area? That will depend on whether or not the hero is really that viable if it wants to use those ballistics. If they're high up and they can shoot over things because the cockpit is right at the top and they're also right at the top, that might be quite nice. But it's an entire identity shift for the Mad Dog. It's totally not what has been done before, which is primarily a missile-based mech. Next up is the Ebon Jaguar. First ballistic-based left torso. That is big because we've always seen these ballistics, such as in the image right here, are being up on those shoulder mounts. So if we have that on the left torso and on the right torso, dual Gauss, anyone that is above the cockpit, it would be just an improvement on the Ridge Poker Ebon Jaguar. You could go from having the dual PPC and the Gauss rifle in the high mounts to a pair of Gauss, which would be better on hotter maps, and it would be cool. It would be interesting to see that mech. Otherwise, it's just a little bit of an optimization. Nothing really else huge here. The rest of it is just sort of a hardpoint shuffle around. There isn't any really big things. For the Hellbringer here, if you do not already have the loyalty mech, this might be important for you, because we have the 2 energy in the right torso. However, that's the exact same as the Foxtrot loyalty Hellbringer that came out, so if you don't need that, you've already got the loyalty one, you don't really need the hero. I personally am addicted to Hellbringers, so I will purchase a hero of it at any point. I already said that I was going to purchase a hero of it at any point, because they're my favorite mech, so I don't really care. I can just redo the Laser Vom build that I have already on my Hellbringer loyalty version. I can just have 2 of them and take them into community warfare together. Perfect. And that's just for me. But for also, you have the missiles in the right arm. But previously there was no missile hardpoints on that side of the mech besides the right torso, and this would make some additional splat builds. So if you wanted to go right arm 2 missile, right torso 2 missile, you want to do like force arm 6 and then some backup lasers in the left torso with an ECM, and be like that sneaky sort of come around out of nowhere. He was under ECM, we couldn't see him, and then just put in a good shot into the opponent. This mech could do it. So that will be an interesting thing to play with. But moving on to the assaults, we have the Gargoyle and the Executioner, and I gotta move around my little notes here. For the Gargoyle, torso omnipods. The first time with actual hardpoints in the torsos. And it has 2 missiles in the left and 1 missile on the right. So this just improves the ability for the Gargoyle to be that fast striking mech. Right now, it's got its 400 XL at an 80 tons, so we can go like just shy of 90 kph after speed tweaked. And you can just take this Gargoyle and run it down somebody's throat with like mass small lasers or something along those lines. Now you can go splat. You can go like a crap ton of lasers and then like 3 Artemis 6s or even more Artemis 6s if you wanted to take some missile hardpoints in the arm and just run right into somebody and splat them to death. Excellent build. Also, it makes the Gargoyle able to take LRMs if you would wish to do that, or in the future, ATMs, however those will work out. And then for the Executioner, the same thing as the Gargoyle, we have some additional hardpoints in the left and right torso, but this time it's the first time that there's been missiles there. Now, it's had hardpoints in these torsos before, but it never had missiles. So that gives it 4 missiles here, which you can, again, use for splat, use for LRMs, and in the future use for ATMs, just like the Gargoyle. So it gives both these assaults an entirely new way of doing combat, which is under the banner of missiles. Now, again, I think that you only really need to buy these if you want the 30% C-build boost from these mechs, although there is some issues with this. And this is what I'm getting into, a little rant about the... I always thought that they set a bad precedent when they released the Kit Fox Hero, the Purifier, because that mech has it so you have to buy the hero so that you can take enough energy to make that size of mech worthwhile. And people were like, it's fine because it's a Kit Fox. It's never going to be the strongest mech. You know, as long as they don't do that kind of stuff for a strong mech, it's fine. But they're continuing to do it. And it's really bothering me because for several of these mechs, they're taking what is normally a weaker version of it, and they're giving it buffs. Like with the Ice Ferret, giving it access to ECM, and saying, oh, you want to run your Ice Ferret? Well, if you want to run your Ice Ferret well, and the best an Ice Ferret could be, yeah, give us $15. And that really doesn't sit well for me, because you're basically telling the free-to-play player, the person that is playing the game, and serving as content for the people who pay to play against, and you're telling them you will never have a mech as strong as the people who pay. That doesn't work in the long run. It may work in the short run, but I am really concerned about this. So, I have an idea, and I would implore them to institute this immediately, which would be to make the Hero Omnipods purchasable for C-bills. You can buy the Omnipods, you can't buy the center torso. The center torso is the one that holds the C-bill bonus. But if you allow them to buy the Omnipods, you can put whatever the hell you want on the heroes, and I will never complain, because it will be a pod, and I could put that on my C-bill version. There you go. That's the answer. You have to make these Omnipods available in the store for the free-to-play player. Otherwise, we are slipping into some form of pay-to-win, and I don't want that. But that was a rant and a half, and to wrap this up, if you want a nice 30% C-Build Boost Clan mech, you can get it here for 30 to 35% off, and for specific ones such as the Mistlynx, the Ice Ferret, possibly the Mad Dog, the Ebon Jaguar, and the Gargoyle and the Executioner, if you like those ones, you're going to get a little bit of an additional boost in your ability to build those mechs and their strength. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and good hunting.